Ginsburg. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg is famous for advocating towards gender equality and women's rights. She's also famous for being an excellent lawyer and an associate justice of the Supreme Court. Her most famous court case was United States versus Virginia in 1996. This is considered one of her most famous court cases because the court, led by her, challenged Virginia Military Institute to accept women attending. It emphasized the justice's efforts to implement true sex equality. So the takeaway is that Ruth Bader Ginsburg was an advocate for gender equality and women's rights, and she was a scholar, champion of equal rights, a role model, and a public servant of the highest order.
All right, good job.
Alina Kagan was the fourth woman to ever serve in the Supreme Court, and she was nominated by the President Barack Obama. Alina Kagan was a judge for a case, along with Justice Anthony Kennedy, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Stephen Breyer, and Sonia Sotomayor. Obergefell versus Hodges was a landmark in 2015. The U.S. Supreme Court case that made same-gender marriage legal across the entire country. This case was brought by James Obergefell, who sued because his home state of Ohio wouldn't recognize his marriage to his longtime partner John Arthur, which had been legally performed in another state. The court ruled a 5-4 decision that the Constitution guarantees same-sex couples the right to marry based on the principles of equal protection and due process under the 14th Amendment. This decision required all states to both license and recognize marriages between same-gender couples.
And all the judges you guys are doing were on that case, right? Right? That's so funny. Good job. All right, last but not least.
It's still down there.
Okay. Sonia Sotomayor was the first Hispanic justice to serve in the U.S. Supreme Court. She was also the third woman to serve in the U.S. Supreme Court. She was born in New York City on June 25, 1954. Sonia graduated from Princeton University and got her Juris Doctor from the Yale Law School. What made her famous? Sonia Sotomayor is famous because she was the first Hispanic woman and the first woman of color to make it to the Supreme Court. Her most famous case was the Schwartz versus Coalition case in 2014. And I learned that Sonia Sotomayor was the first Hispanic woman and the first woman of color to reach the Supreme Court. I also learned that she went to Princeton University and then
Good job.